The excitement.
You will when the rabbi says any good news, we'll let you know.
Oh, good,
Okay.
good.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Got quiet.
Nobody's talking.
Where are you, Lauren?
Anybody see the movie last night?
No,
Christmas?
Yes.
Yes.
it was good, wasn't it? I mean, I haven't
Very
seen it, but I heard
good.
it was good.
I want to go to that Chinese restaurant with all that entertainment.
We ordered our Chinese food and watched the movie. It was the perfect Christmas Eve.
Yep.
We watched something else. What did we watch?
The Meryl Streep.
Oh, yeah, the new Meryl Streep movie. Something about talk. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I watched it. It was so-so.
Very so-so.
Yeah, I watched last night the prom. I don't know if you
Prom
watched
was-
that.
We saw the prom. Yeah, I liked
We
it.
saw the prom too.
Yeah.
We saw Ma Rainey, the one with
Yes.
Viola Davis.
Yeah, what'd you think, Gail?
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Same
Not
thing,
enough.
so-so?
Too much talking, not enough singing.
Yeah, and it left me hanging at the end. It seemed like it was just abruptly ended. I was a little disappointed. Oh, well.
Me too.
We also
Well,
saw
so that's a
Sylvie's
couple of
Love.
disappointed ones then.
Sylvie's.
Sylvie's Love, yeah.
Movie group.
We're watching one with,
Hi, everyone. Rabbi, my mom will be on in a minute. She's here. She's off camera, but she's here.
Okay. No problem.
Happy anniversary, Diane and Amos.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Happy
you.
anniversary.
50 years. Wow.
50 years.
That's great.
Is today, is it, when is it Shabbat?
On.
Hmm?
Who's on?
So who knows the traditional? I look like I'm a ghost. Am I bleeding the white the earth Jews?
Rabbi Tom?
Rabbi, you have to speak a little louder. Turn it up.
Or
Am
mute
I
everybody.
blinding the white?
What?
In my own view, I can't see my face. It's so, I have too much light. Is
Yes,
it too light?
it is, too light.
You see him?
You.
I don't even see it. I see the Selef family. A black screen, I guess.
He made himself disappear.
He's on the Bima, or was.
Gary, I thought that's your
Oh, there he is.
profession.
It's better.
Am I still washed out?
That's funny,
Pretty
Gail.
much.
White, yeah.
Gail said, Vera, I thought that was your
Am I still washed out?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Spray paint.
Where the rabbi? How about now?
Better.
A little better.
That's a little better.
Still very bright?
Yeah.
Not so bad.
Okay. So who knows the traditional Yiddish name for last night?
Dish name for night before Christmas.
Last time he said.
Yeah, but you had speaker view.
Because he wasn't on. Nobody?
Won't be on.
Nobody grew up with that in their household?
Whatever's talking
No.
will come up.
What's that?
Yiddish
So the
word.
traditional Yiddish word for last night is Nittelnacht.
Oh,
No,
I've heard
What is
that. I
it?
just
Never heard
knew
of
what
it.
meant.
Never heard of that? Oh, so what does Nittelnacht mean?
what?
Something night.
The middle of
Nothing.
the night.
Nothing night, because that's what you're supposed to do if you're Jewish. Nothing. Because God forbid it's something, it might look like you're celebrating Christmas in some way. So in Eastern Europe, that was it was called
Judy can't get on.
Niddelnacht. And sometimes they would organize Torah study, late night Torah study on Christmas Eve to make sure that nobody did anything that might even have a hint. So that's where, if you've ever heard of that expression, that's where it comes from.
Never heard of it. Judy Greenberg is having trouble coming online.
Does she need the link, Lori?
I don't know, I'm at,
I just asked her, but I haven't heard.
okay,
Judy Greenberg said she can't get online for services.
on Zoom.
Not answering, so I don't know.
Is Susan?
Maybe she has last week, not this week.
You have to register this because.
No,
All right, well, I'm gonna reclaim the host and I'm gonna get us started.
Rabbi,
Yes.
She needs the Zoom number.
I'm here. My mom's going to be here in a second.
Okay.
But
You need the
post for now.
number?
Judy Greenberg needs, she said, I think I need the Zoom number because I can't get into
Okay,
AO.
you ready? You ready?
Am I ready?
Yeah. You can send it to, you can send it to her.
Well, okay, so, okay, I could just type it straight in here. Okay, what is it?
849
849
5454.
54, two of that, 5454 or just 154?
Two of them.
Okay,
1325.
okay, is there a password for that as
The
well?
password is Shabbat.
What?
Shabbat.
Oh.
Password,
Hey Hood, if you want
Capital
to
S.
make me host, I can then transfer it to Susan.
Okay, I'm making.
Trying to get in. I can't.
see, but we're on your calendar, you had to bring her sweet, okay, sweet potatoes. Tell her thank you, that will be fine tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, there you are, Judy, it worked?
Alicia, if you'll mute.
Yay!
Okay, good.
I don't know.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
I just.
Shabbat shalom, Parvati.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Alicia, if you'll spotlight me. All right, Shabbat shalom, everyone. Good evening, Rabbi Stella here. Flying solo tonight at Temper Matzion. Chazan Friedman has the night off. And as you all know, when the Chazan's away, the rabbi will play. So we're gonna have some fun tonight. That means all new tunes, or a lot of new tunes. And since I can't hear whether you're singing along or not, I'm just gonna hope that you are. And also the fact that I'm singing basically to myself. I can keep changing keys as often as I want, and that seems to happen a lot for me. So do your best, but when I change keys, it's not on purpose. It's just what happens to me when I'm singing. And hopefully some of the melodies are familiar enough. Maybe you've heard it some other time that you'll be able to sing along. I thought that we'd start with a nigun, one that you know. So at home, please feel free to sing along. Yai dai did I 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 oi yai did I 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 ya ba 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 bum ya bye 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 ya ba 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 bum ya ba 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 oi 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 ya ba 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 bye ya bye 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 ya ba 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 bye 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 ya be bye be bye oi. All right. You may have heard it in other places. Of course, we all know that Jews wrote the best Christmas songs. So was that originally a nigun? Who knows? But for real, that's my humor, sorry. For real, we're going to start on page 11 with L'chuna Ranana, a tune that you may have heard here once or twice, but we don't do very often. But I like to mix it. L'chuna Ranana l'Adonai Nariya letzurishenu L'chuna ranana l'Adonai Nariya letzurishenu Nekadma fanav betoda Bizmirot nariya lo L'chunaranina l'Adonai, Nariha l'tzorishenu. L'chunaranina l'Adonai, Nariha l'tzorishenu. Nekadma fanav betoda, Bizmirot Nariha lo. Turn the head, we're on page 14, 6 lines down at the triangle, Yismechu Hashamayim, and again, I've heard it here once or twice before, but not one that we do regularly. Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz, Yiram hayam, Umelo, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz, Yiram hayam, Umelo. Yadarai rai rai, yadarai rai rai, yadarai rai 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 rai, yadarai rai rai rai, yadarai rai rai rai, yadarai rai yadarai rai rai rai. Excuse me. We're going to turn ahead to page 17. We don't normally do this psalm, page 17, but it's got a nice melody. Excuse me. Shiru ladonai shir chadash, shiru ladonai kol haaretz. Oh, that's not the wrong way. That's not the right one. I skipped it, sorry. Wrong, right words, wrong page. Oh, we're going backwards, that's why. I apologize. We're on page 13. Page 13, this is Psalm 96. Shiru ladonai shir chadash, shiru ladonai kol haaretz, shiru ladonai baruchu shemo, basru miyom leyom yeshuato, sapru hagoyim kevod, ki bechol ha'amim nifelotav, ki gadol Adonai. ומעולל מאוד נוראו על כל אלוהים, איי, כי כל אלוהי העמים מלינים, ואדוני שמיים עשה, הוד והדר לפניו, עוז ותפארת במקדשו, הבו לאדוני משפחות עמים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז. הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, שאו מנחה ובואו לחצרותיו. Turn the page, השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, חילו מפניו כל הארץ. אמרו בגויים אדוני מלך, אף תיכון תבל. בל תימות ידין עמים במישרים, ישמחו השם ותגל הארץ, ירם הים ומלואו, יעלו שדי בכל אשר בו, איי, אז ירננו כל הצייר לפני אדוני, כי יבער לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, וימים באמונתו. יאללה יאי, יאי די די די, יאי יאי די די, יאי די די די, יאי יאי די די, יאי די די די. We're skipping Ramamu tonight because I don't have a new melody for it. So we're skipping it. Page 23, not a new melody, but just the one that I like the best. And we're going to do every single verse of Lecha Dodi. That's different. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yadidai, 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 b'nei Shabbat. נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידידיי, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה, שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידידיי, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה, לך דודי ידידיי, 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 בני שבת, קבלה, לקראת שבת, לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידידיי, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידידיי, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה, מקדש מלך, עיר מלוכה, קומי צאי מתוך ההפכה, רב לך שבט בימי קבחה, והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידידיי, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, יביביי, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה, verse 4, התנערי מעפר קומי, לבשי בגדי תפארתך עמי, על יד בן ישי בית הלחמי, קרבה אל נפשי, אל נפשי גאלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידידיי, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת, ידידיי, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה, התעוררי, התעוררי, היווה אוירך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת, ידידיי, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידידיי, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה, לא תבושי ולא תקלמי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תהמי, בך יחסו עניי עמי, ונבנתה עיר עתילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידידיי, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידידיי, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה. We're on verse 7, והיו למשיסה שוסייך, ורחקו כל מבלייך, יסיס עלייך אלוהייך, כמסוס חתנה כלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידידיי, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידידיי, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה, ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תעריצי, על יד איש בן פרצי, ונשמחה ונגילה, לך דודי לקראת, ידידיי, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידידיי, 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 בני שבת, Nekabela. We rise, we face the entrance to whichever room you're in. We welcome in the Shabbat bride. Boi b'shalom, ateret bala. גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך תויתי לקראת כלה, ידידיי, 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 בני שבת נקבלה, לך תויתי לקראת כלה, ידידיי, 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 בני שבת נקבלה. You can be seated. Moshe the psalm for Shabbat. Once again, a new melody. Maybe one you've heard before, hopefully. Mizmor, mizmor shir, shir leyom HaShabbat. 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 Mizmor shir, shir leyom HaShabbat. Mizmor shir, shir leyom HaShabbat. Mizmor, 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 mizmor shir, shir leyom HaShabbat. Please continue privately through the bottom of the next page. So we're at page 28, 8 lines from the bottom. Tzadik atamar yifrach ke'erez balvanon yisgeh shetulim bebeit Adonai bechatrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun beseiva Deshenim verananim yiyu l'hagid ki yashar Adonai tzuri tzuri v'lohav latabo. Page 29. Adonai malach yud lavesh lavesh Adonai osita zahar aftikon tevel baltimo. 6 lines from the bottom at the triangle. Mikolot mahayim, mahayim rahabim, hadirim adirim, mishpereham. Mikolot mahayim, mahayim rahabim, hadirim adirim, mishpereham. Hadir b'marom yarai rai, hadir b'marom yarai rai, hadir b'marom Adonai, hadir b'marom yarai rai, hadir b'marom yarai rai, hadir b'marom Adonai. Edot echanenu me'od v'etchanam ha'kodesh, Adonai leorech yamim. Those in mourning, those observing Yartzeit, can please rise and join me in the Mourner's Kaddish on page 30. If you're joining us through Zoom and you'd like, you can unmute your microphones now so that we can all say the Kaddish together. Page 30 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba, ve'alma t'vrach l'rutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yom echon, v'chayi d'chol beit Yisrael. Bagala v'zman kariv imru amen. Yitmerav v'orach v'alam v'meol maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. Yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'alal shmit Yela mikol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlam arab shmaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al Ru Amen. Shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael imru. Amen. Rise, everyone, if you're able. We turn ahead. We're on page 39A for the Baruch. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da da da. Yai da 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 da. Baruch et Adonai Amevor. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Hamevorach Leolam Vaed Hamevorach Hamevorach Leolam Vaed. You can be seated. We continue privately first in the Hebrew and then join together in the English. Baruch atah Adonai Hashem Yivanu. We join together in the English where it says, the coming of evening light. Baruch atah Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's division, whose will sets the succession of seasons and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and night, who rolls light before darkness and darkness from light, who makes day pass into night, who distinguishes day from night. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Living and ever-present God, may your rule be with us forever and ever. Baruch atah Adonai, who brings each evening's dusk. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, מבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. חי וקיים, תמנים נאכלנו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים. Turn ahead to page 40. Avat Olam, again, a different melody, one we've done a bunch of times, so hopefully it's familiar. Avat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Avta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Al ken Adonai Eloheinu v'shochmenu, kumenu nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei toratecha, u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayeinu, ve'orech yameinu, u'vahem negei yomam v'layla, ve'avatcha al tasir, ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. Page 41, the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידיך, והיו רטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Please continue privately on page 42 through the bottom of the page. והיה, נתתי מצאתכם, סבתא לגמרי, נתתי את הבצלכם, איש המלכם. ויהיה מתנה את הגמר. ויש רבי את הגמר. והם מדבר בישראל, עשו להם ציציית. ציציית. לא רוצה טוב, תזכר בסדר. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 43, A or B, we continue privately. Ve'emunah kol zav k'yamin ki Adonai Eloheinu Adonai. We join together in the English on 43b. Please read together with me. You proclaimed the covenant on the seventh day. You declared it and decreed it. We listened and heard it. You loved this day we inherited, delighting in its remembrance, and began its command with the word remember, Zachor. From the time you bestowed it, joy filled the hearts of Jeshurun, you, the people you redeemed, securing the cause of righteousness. You exalted Shabbat as a sign between us forever. In 6 days your world was formed. On the seventh day you rested. And on this day Israel, your people, rest. To honor your name, they sing songs of praise to the one deserving of praise. Page 44, we continue with Micha Mocha. Once again, a melody you may have heard here a couple times, but not our traditional one. Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha nehedar b'kodesh, Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, osefele, nora tehilot, osefele. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot, osefele, Nora tehilot, osefele. Malchut charo v'necha bokeh mifnei Moshe, ze'iliyanu v'yamru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, nehemar ki b'ad Adonai et Yaakov, u'ge'alo meyad chazak mimenu, baruch ata Adonai, Gal Yisrael. Page 45, Hashkivenu, the evening prayer for peace. I don't have a new melody for this one. It's going to do our standard Craig Chapman version, but I can't hit the high notes, so I'm just going to skip those. And you hit the high notes at home, all of these of you who can hit those high notes. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim. Ushmor tzeiteinu, u'einu, lechaim u'shalom, me'ata v'yad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim. Ufrosan leinu sukat shalomecha, baruch ata Adonai, hapore sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Page 46, please rise if you can. 46 for Vishamru. And of course, another new melody, but one I think you've heard once or twice before. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. איי 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 ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, מעלמא דברי חילותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, מעל מעל מעולמיה יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה בריחו לעילם, מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ואמרו amen. We seated for a couple of minutes while we take the opportunity to share within the community what we're grateful for, what we're thankful for, something good that happened this past week or something good that you're looking forward to in the coming weeks, so we can all share in the simcha and the joy of good things happening in our community. Susan's going to call on you. The easiest way for her to recognize you is if you raise your hand electronically in the participant box, or you can just try waving your hand in front of her camera and she'll hopefully find you.
Hi, Lori, I see you, and please unmute yourself.
Oh, here we are. Okay, so Barry and I are so excited to announce that our daughter Amanda accepted the proposal of her now fiance, Brendan Barth, last Saturday. We're so excited. It was a long 3 weeks keeping it quiet. He asked us for permission on Thanksgiving, and it's been a long 3 weeks, and we couldn't be happier. So cheers.
Mazel tov.
Thank you very much.
Do we have a date?
No date yet. Not yet. They're not sure if it's going to be in 2021 or if they're going to wait until.
Looks like every day as they come, they're happy together.
We shall see. So exciting.
Mazel tov.
Thank you.
One thing about COVID, nobody's rushing to get engaged and married.
A lot of babies, though.
Yeah.
I'm not saying.
Looking for hand. I see Diane and Amos Schwartz.
We still.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. I'm very happy to say someone already let the cat out of the bag before the service, but I'm very happy to say that tomorrow we're celebrating our 50th anniversary. We got married on December 26th, primarily because as a teacher, you can either get married in December, winter break, or in the summer. Diane didn't want to give me too much time to change my mind. So we decided to get married quickly on December 26th. So I'm very happy. We've had 50 years of 50 great years. I'm sure in between there have been some ups and downs, but mostly great time. And I love Diane very much.
Mazel tov.
Oh, beautiful. Diane, were you leaning in to say something or?
No.
Okay.
No, I was just going to add, when we got married, I had strep throat. And so I got out of my sick bed with, I don't know, temperature over 100, took 3 Tylenols and went to the wedding, didn't feel any pain. I felt great the whole evening.
But my cousin got married the day before.
Oh,
So I was walking around to make sure that everybody wore a different dress the next day for our wedding.
Amos, you shouldn't have told us that, because then somebody might say you weren't in your right mind when you got married.
Yeah, he might not have been in his right mind.
You were in a drug-induced, no, I'm just teasing. Anyone else have something good to share? I don't see anyone.
I'll share. I'll even spotlight myself. Since Amos said that, since my husband is in the vicinity, I'm happy to say that on Sunday, Don and I are celebrating 28 years of happy wedded bliss. When he heard 50, Amos, he said, wow, 50.
You got a long way to go.
Good role models around me. Rabbi, I'm spotlighting you again. Last call for hands. Okay.
I'll share. It's not anything about me or even about my family, but just it made me happy to hear. So a colleague of mine is in the Bay Area. His wife's a doctor, and so she has access to more news and information. And both of her kids, a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old, are in the clinical trials for the vaccines for teenagers. The 14-year-old is actually in a study that takes it down. It's from 11, I think, to 14-year-olds, and the other one is one that's for like 15 through 17-year-olds. So it's very exciting that they're going through those trials now, so that kids might be able to get vaccinated at some point in time in the spring or summer. So they're doing those things, and she posted that they're participating in those trials. So I'm glad that those are happening, because you haven't really heard about that on the news, but that's some good news for anybody with kids. All right, with all those good things, we'll pray the Amidah. Please stand if you're able to. We pray privately. If you use the Siddur, it's pages 47 to 52, the Hebrew or the English, or just take a few minutes for your own private meditations. If you're still praying the Amidah, please continue at your own pace. We're going to continue on page 54 with Kaddish Shalem. יתקרא ויקרא שמי רבה, ואמר וקראתם נחמכותי בחייכם ובמכון חייכם בית ישראל, בעגלה יזמן קריב ימרו אמן, יהי שמי רבה מברך, ועלם מעלמיה יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ונשא ותדע ותעלה ותעלה שמי לקודשה בריחו, לעילם יקבחת ושירתה, תשבחת ונחמתה, תמרה מעלמה וימרו אמן. תתקבל צאתנו וברכנו תבוא ישראל, כבודו בהון בשמיה וימרו אמן. יהי שלום עליו משמיים וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל וימרו אמן. ועושה שלום מרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל וימרו amen. So Shabbos, once again, thank you all for joining us, whether you're on Zoom or on YouTube this evening. So this week we had a whole series of Shiva Minyans for Jackie Roth. And during the Shiva Minyans, her son Cameron was remarking that on top of the pain of losing his mother was the recognition that he lost all of the family stories that his mother held. Now, Cameron's only 30 years old. He didn't expect that at such a young age that he would have to be the repository of his family's stories. And it wasn't new to hear such a thing. I've heard it many times when meeting with families before a funeral. They would talk about the person who had passed away and say, you know, so-and-so really was the family connector. They were like the hub of the wheel that was their family. They were the one who talked to everybody, to all the cousins. They kept everyone informed about everything that was going on. And they knew all the family stories. It's a big responsibility. And I always mention when I do an unveiling ceremony that you don't have to remember every single event in a person's life if you want to remember them and pass on their legacy. But you do have to remember and then retell the big events in their life. And that's really what the Torah is. The Torah is a retelling, aside from the laws, of course, it's a retelling of the major life events of our ancient ancestors. Not every single detail, but the important ones. And because those stories were told and retold and retold over the millennium, we still have them today. But it probably wasn't, if you think about it, it wasn't everybody telling and retelling. Just like in families, there are those who are the keepers of the family stories. They are the keepers of the family lore. And we read about someone who knew some important things about our ancient ancestors and our history in the parsha that we read this week, Vayigash. It's a minor character, but she has a major influence. Her name is Serach. Sometimes she's referred to as her full Hebrew name, Serach bat Asher, Serach, the daughter of Asher, to kind of give us some context because she's so unfamiliar, to give us her reference to her time and her place. She's the daughter of Asher. She's the granddaughter of Jacob. Because otherwise, we really would never know and maybe forget who she was and why she was important, which is such an irony, of course, because she was the keeper of so many important family stories. So we begin the parsha, Vayigash, with the reconciliation between Yosef and his brothers, and then Yaakov, their father, and the rest of the clan is sent for, and they come down to Egypt to stay with Yosef, where he can watch over them and take care of them and provide for them during these difficult famine years. When they come into Egypt, there's a small enumeration of the entire clan, and like most genealogical lists in the Torah, it really pretty much is exclusively fathers and sons. So, of course, it's extremely odd and therefore extremely noteworthy that one granddaughter of Yaakov is mentioned, and it is Serach bat Asher. It doesn't say why she's mentioned. It doesn't give any reason why she deserves to be noted. And I think it's fair to presume that there were probably other granddaughters. I mean, it would be really strange if Yaakov had 53 grandsons, which are listed, and one granddaughter. That would be like a genetic miracle. But it doesn't say why she gets mentioned. But she is, and it's therefore significant. She is mentioned in two other places in the Bible. She's mentioned in another genealogy in Numbers, and again in the book of First Chronicles. But again, it doesn't tell us much about her. And therefore, the rabbis have to come up with midrashim to help explain her significance. And boy, they come up with some really interesting tales. So these are a number of midrashim that span 1,000 years of history from the ancient world up until the Middle Ages. And so we learn that Serach is one of a very small group of people, probably you can number them on one hand, who do something special, who do something extraordinary, I should say, that is so meritorious that they're given the ultimate gift. They're given the gift of eternal life. The one that you're probably most familiar with is the prophet Eliyahu, Elijah, never dies, goes up to heaven on the fiery chariot, never dies. And thus, of course, we know he can keep coming back to earth. He comes back to earth. We say at a bris, he comes back to earth every Pesach to visit us. So Serach is blessed with immortality. She can also kind of flit back and forth between heaven and earth, and she can therefore show up at opportune moments and continue to deliver important messages. Now, how did she get such a reward? What was her meritorious act? So after this reconciliation in the beginning of the parsha between Yosef and his brothers, they say, okay, we gotta go and tell dad. So he's gonna come back, and we have to tell dad, of course, that Yosef is still alive. Then they realize if we have to tell him that, they're going to have to explain how is he still alive and tell the whole story and kind of admit their crime and their plan to murder their brother and how it all happened. And they don't want to do that, not just for themselves. They say, maybe we're afraid, the shock will kill him, the shock that he's still alive or the shock that his brothers wanted to kill him, whatever it is, it's not going to be good for dad. So you know what? We need somebody to break the news who can do it in a gentle way. We need someone close enough to Yaakov, but who's innocent of the whole affair. So they turn to his granddaughter, Serach. It says Serach would sing to Yaakov, that would bring him comfort. And then they tell her to include in her songs this message. She says over and over, she's singing to him, Od Yosef Chai, Od Yosef Chai. Yosef is still alive. Yosef is still alive, over and over. And Yaakov is listening, and finally he's understanding what she's saying. And he asks her, is this true? And yes, and she's able to break the news to him in a gentle way, and the whole family goes down to Egypt. So that's how Serach earned her immortality. And from that point on, also, she's entrusted with preserving the family's stories and weaving them into songs, as was the custom in the ancient world. Then we see her again, according to the next Midrash, when Moshe comes on the scene in Egypt. He, of course, claims to be speaking for God, but the Israelites don't necessarily believe him. Generations earlier, Yaakov, when he was on his deathbed, told his sons, told them to tell their sons, etc., that when God will come to redeem and send a prophet to redeem them, there is going to be a particular sign, and this is going to identify the prophet and the Redeemer as authentic. Of course, it's 200 or 400 years later, depending on different versions of how long the slavery was in Egypt, and nobody could remember what the sign was. No one except Serach. Serach remembered. So Moshe shows her the sign, she confirms it, and that gives Moshe the legitimacy in the eyes of all the Israelites. Then, after all the plagues, and Pharaoh finally agrees to free the Israelites, Moshe goes back to Serach for more help. Because even after Yaakov had died, Yosef had also taken his brothers and gathered them together. He said, when I die, I want you to bring my bones, eventually when you leave Egypt, with you when you go back to Israel, and bury me in the family burial cave. They all agree, they all make a solemn vow. 200 or 400 years later, nobody can remember, where did we bury Yosef? Somewhere here in Egypt. Where are his bones? No one can remember except Serach. She tells Moshe, he's buried over here. They actually put his bones in a metal sarcophagus. The Egyptians had sunk it in the Nile River. They get it out, and they're able to bring Yosef's bones back. In another kind of random midrash, she appears later on in Israel after the conquest of the land, hundreds of years later now. The town is rebelling against the Israelite king for one reason or another. She says, maybe not such a good idea to rebel. It's going to get you all killed. They listen to her. Hundreds of years later, she shows up in a yeshiva, of all places. They're discussing at that particular day the miracle of the splitting of the sea. What was it like? In detail. We want to understand the nature of it. And one rabbi, Rabbi Yochanan, says, it says the waters were like a wall for them, but actually it was more like a netting holding something back. And Serach pipes up and she says, actually, I remember it was more like a wall, but it was transparent like windows. After all, I was there, she said. Now, of course, today we've got books, we've got pictures, we've got videos. You even get Facebook. You post something once, say next year it reminds you, hey, here's your memory, or 10 years later it reminds you, hey, here's your memory. These are all wonderful tools, but of course they're not the same thing as actual memory. They're not the same thing as someone transmitting a story, someone's legacy from one generation to the next. That's the way it's been done for thousands of years. Now, we're still going to be staying home for quite a bit longer, at least a few more months. It seems like we'll be spending more time at home than normal. So I encourage you, whether you're with your different generations in the same household, or you connect over Zoom with them, pull out the photo albums, take out diaries or journals, share those stories from one generation to the next, and feel good knowing that those stories that you tell and retell and retell are the stories that are going to be told about your ancestors and you by the coming generations. And who knows, maybe you're talking to the next serach of your family. Shabbat shalom. It is birthday Shabbat. It is the last Shabbat of December. So we're celebrating a whole bunch of birthdays. So I'm going to read our list here. This is going in order of the month, not by age, but so starting December 1st and then going to the end of the month. So happy birthday to the following people. To Lirit Sur, Nancy Perrin, David Lertzman, Daniel Aaron, Lynn Bernheim, Seth Katz, Gloria Schur, Brian Simon, Gail Fiber, Eric Leibovich, Ron Bernheim, my father-in-law, David Vorspan, Aaron Simon, Stuart Waterstone, Eric Aaron, Jack Zaffron, Leonard Mendelson, turned 93 years young 2 weeks ago. Still going strong. Sherry Lapidus, Mark Asher, Megan Beitel, Helene Grunwald, Muriel Redute, Frank Steinschreiber, Karen Lankfus, Elaine Margulis, Melissa Stairs, Dave Perrin, Jordan Simon, Kara Rubenstein, Don Graham, Elaine Stover, Amos Schwartz, Serena Oberstein, Denise Koek, and Maxine Fixman. So we want to offer you the following blessing. And then if you all, after the blessing, want to unmute, you can to sing Yom Huledet Sameach. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless all who celebrate birthdays this month, who have come forward today to thank God for all the blessings God has bestowed upon them from the day of birth until today. May God continue to protect them, and may God bless them with a long life filled with good health and love, and may God send blessing and success to all their endeavors. And we all say, Amen. Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach.
Yom Huledet Sameach.
And many, many more.
Many more. I know we have a couple of our birthdays on, so if any of our birthdays are on, want to share, if you did something interesting to adapt a birthday to pandemic times, if anybody is on who wants to share what they did. Or if you just want to say, hi, it was my birthday. And I'm happy about it. Dr. Leibovich.
Yeah, we had every one of our family on, which was the first time we'd all been together since the beginning of this nice pandemic we have. So that was very exciting to be able to see everybody. All of it on Zoom.
Beautiful. How many screens was that?
Well, I don't know how many screens, but there was about 26 people on. So it was all our children, grandchildren, and all of their significant others. So it was really terrific.
Beautiful.
I didn't get to see it before because I had my hand up, but you didn't see it. But on Monday, Harriet and I will be celebrating our 63rd wedding anniversary. So,
Mazal tov.
Thank you.
Any of our birthday people want to share? How did you figure out how to celebrate your birthday this year?
You haven't celebrated.
Frank?
Yeah, well, this year we just talked to everybody on Zoom, but I want to tell you a story about 8 years ago when I got a call from my son, Justin, who said that his wife was pregnant with our first grandchild and he was due on my birthday. So he ended up being born on the 17th instead of the 18th, which is the day before. But I think that's good because he gets his own birthday and I keep mine. So it was really fun and was an amazing experience.
You don't have to share.
Don't have to share.
It's beautiful.
But it is terrific to share because my youngest son was born on my birthday and we always love sharing each year.
Okay, that's good too.
As long as you have the same taste in cakes. Any other of our birthday people? I see a couple of you still online. Any of the rest of you? Okay. All right. Well, hopefully you all had some way of celebrating nicely in honor of your birthdays. We're going to continue with Aleinu, please rise. We're on page 56. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני הארץ, מה שלקרוב בשמיים ממעל. ושכינת זו בגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אלוהינו, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, ידעת היום בהשבותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת לגודלו. כן, נברך. כי המלכות שלך היא לעולם תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך נמלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. You can be seated. In love and remember those who no longer walk this earth. We're grateful to God for the gifts of their lives, for the joys we shared, and for the cherished memories that never fade. This coming week, we'll observe the yahrzeits of Suharjo, Stanley Abramson, Irving Bass, Molly Blander, Anna Kaplan, Pierre Delbert, Bertha Eckhart, Celia Edelman, Gertrude Eichner, Bessie Farber, George Fagenbaum, Bessie Flegel, Ida Foreman, Louis Ginsburg, Elizabeth Godwin, Monty Greenberg, Susan Estelle Green, Eugene Joel Gruen, Ariel Jacobs, Bertha Keith, Lillian Klein, Nathan Klonsky, Leonard Costin, Minerva Lefton, Alan Leibovich, Les Leibovich, Ida Estes Marine, Marilyn Miller, Irving Minsky, Stephanie Leah Mizrahi, Emmanuel Moskowitz, Sarah Mullet, Marvin Perlman, Mel Pink, Hortense Popolo, Clara Samuels, Jenny Schmidt, Corrine Schreier, Abraham Shipkowitz, Dory Spall, Adeline Siegel, Morris Silver, Millie Silverstein, Dee Smolin, Marnie Clemens Stocker, Frank Sutterman, Max Tabakman, Edward Wagman, Claire Weiss, and Ruth Wolk. And this week we mark the passing of Claire Freeman. Claire's funeral will be Sunday at 1 p.m. The Zoom link was sent out. The first one was not correct. Please use the one in the second email. And there will be Shiva Minyanim on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Are there any yard sites being observed that I missed? And I invite those in mourning and those observing yard site to please rise and join me in sanctifying God's name with the words of the mourner's Kaddish on page 58. If you join us through Zoom and you'd like, you can unmute your microphone so that we can all say the Kaddish together. Yitkadal, v'yitkadash shemeinu, ra'achirutim, chayich,
Beit Yisrael, Aglav Isman Kareem, V'imru Amen. Baruch Yishtabach Yitmar Yitnaseh. Shaniri Kudisha Yichu. Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata. Tushbechata V'nechemata. Amadi. V'imru Amen. Ve'en Shlom Rabbi Min Shemayim V'chanim V'oinu. Israel V'imru Amen. Say Shalom. Ramav Hu Yaseh Shalom. Aleinu V'al Kol Israel V'imru Amen. You don't have to.
Amen.
Amen. You seated. We're going to turn it over to Susan Lookenbill, the president of TRZ, for a few announcements.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Rabbi, for leading us so beautifully and doing everything tonight and for bringing us together. Nice to see you all for the last Friday night service of 2020. There will be a minyan on Zoom and on YouTube tomorrow, a Shabbat service at 9 o'clock. There will be no Midot meditation this week, but Chazan will resume Midot next Saturday at 8:30, and starting January 6th, he's also adding a second Midot session Wednesdays at 10 a.m. for those of you who wanted an alternative. There will be a minyan in person on Sunday if we have enough people who have signed up ahead of time. Again, we do a very small service on Sunday mornings at 8:30, about 12 or 14 people. If you would like to join us, please sign up after Shabbat so that we know that you are coming. Plenty of educational learning opportunities. Like Rabbi wrote me the other day, we don't let anyone get bored here at TRZ. So there is a Taste of Torah with Rav Sela on Tuesdays through Friday at noon, on Zoom, on YouTube, and on Facebook. I've said this so many times, Sarah copies me now. So we are going through Pirkei Avot and learning a little at a time, and it's really lovely. We have a happy hour Tuesdays at 5. If you haven't been in a while, it's still going on, so please come on in for that. And Tuesdays at 8, I highly encourage you to take advantage of the opportunity to be in a book club from home. We are reading Surprised by God by Rabbi Danya Ruttenberg, but starting January, we will be reading As a Driven Leaf by Milton Steinberg. It's a really good book, so I encourage you to join us. Save the date, January 10th, Adult Ed has invited Nathan Lewin all the way over from Washington. Nathan Lewin, if you don't know him, look him up, is a legal scholar, Supreme Court lawyer, and he will be talking about the Supreme Court and religious liberty. On New Year's Eve, I've gotten some wonderful volunteers to bring you a 3-hour block of programming. You can come in for any part of it starting at 7 o'clock. There will be games and we can just talk. There'll be different things you can do. We will ring in the new year on the East Coast together. And so there is a link that was sent to you. Please check that out. If you want to take advantage of year-end tax donations, we still have the pantry that can use your contributions. You can donate to the Torah Fund. Sisterhood's collecting for that, and the Jewish National Tree Fund. And this year, we are unable to have an in-person gala. It's a pity because I was lucky to be a recipient of the honor at the gala in 2020. We won't be able to do it in person in 2021. So we are having an ungala gala, an opportunity for you to contribute a little bit to what you would have done for the gala without having to dress up and hire a babysitter and go to an event. You will receive an invitation in the mail if you haven't already. I would appreciate your support of that. I wish you a year of health and happiness and prosperity, and a Shabbat Shalom to you all.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Susan. So I hope you enjoyed the little new melodies that we tried tonight. If you enjoyed it, you can let me know. If you didn't, you can just keep that to yourself. That's fine. We'll go back to the old familiar melodies. But since, again, I have the floor and I can't hear you singing anyway, we're going to try a totally new ending song. It's in the Siddur. We never do it, but it's there. It's listed as one of the possible concluding songs on Friday night. It's on page 61. So it's right before Yigdal, page 61. It's called Ki Eshmerah Shabbat. If I keep Shabbat, God watches over me. Or as I keep Shabbat, God watches over me. The melody I know is like a Sephardic, maybe more like even a Mizrahi. So you have to get your Mizrahi on, even if you're Ashkenaz. Little like, you have to have that kind of that noise, that Mizrahi whine in your voice a little bit as you do it. We're just going to do the chorus and then 2 verses because it's a long song, but just hopefully you'll like it. And again, if you like it, let me know. If you don't, you can keep that to yourself. That's totally fine because you'll only probably hear this once, at least on a Friday night from me. Ki yishmera Shabbat el yishmereini oti lehol mehiyad beinohu veini אסור מצוחפת, הסודר אחים, גם מלדבר בו, דברי צרחים, דברי סחורה, אף דברי מלאכים, אין בתורת אל, ותחכמני. ישמרה שבת אל ישמרני אותי לעולמי יד בינו וביני באמצע תמיד נופש לנפשי הנה לדור ראשון נתן קדושי מופת בתל לחם משנה בשישי ככה בכל שישי יכפיל מזוני ישמרה שבת אל ישמרני אותי לעולמי יד בינו וביני. That was a little tour into Sephardic Mizrahi melodies. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.